Gang, what's up? Aaron here, Canadian Looney. Let's take a look at this. Pierre Poilievre seems to be a man on fire. He's going to tear Mark Carney apart here first in the House of Commons. He's going to break the fourth wall, speak directly to you. Then he's going to make a rare legacy media appearance on CTV just last night. And then this morning, he lit up the House of Commons floor again with a very epic speech. We're going to look at all of those pieces. Let's get into this. Aaron, Canadian Looney, like, share, subscribe. Let's kick it off with Pierre wiping the floor with Mark Carney. What a mess. It's funny.
Hey, that's something everyone can enjoy.
Groceries lately.
Here we go.
Canadians, according to this Prime Minister, have never had it so good. If you're that single mother out there walking down the grocery aisle looking at prices rise before your eyes, if you're that senior choosing between eating and heating, if you're one of the countless Canadians who see that roasted coffee is up 41% since the Prime Minister took office, that nuts and seeds up 15%, that food price inflation is now double the target, or if you're one of those 2 million people that are lined up at food banks every single month, the Prime Minister never says you've never had it so good. How is it possible for this Prime Minister to be so costly and so out of touch with reality?
Here, here. The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Okay, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, it's time once again for our economic lesson. Getting ahead means your wages grow faster than inflation. Let's look at the relationship between inflation and deficits. The inflation rate in Canada, the food inflation rate, is the G7 average, and we have the lowest deficit in the G7. What the government is going to do is use that deficit to grow this economy like it's never seen before.
Here, here, well done.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
So the Prime Minister says to that single mother, that small business owner, that senior I just referenced out there, that he needs to give you economic lessons. You are the one out there who are watching prices rise right before
The honourable member knows to speak through the chair, and there was a lot of noise around that. So if the honourable member could just start from the top, please.
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister is now lecturing Canadians who are lined up at food banks, telling them that they've never had it so good. Right. That if only they appreciated all the many promises that he's made, promises that he hasn't even begun to keep, that they would then be appreciative of the fact that here we have fresh and frozen beef is up 14%, fresh and frozen cut chucks up 12%, frozen meats up 11%, coffee grains up 40%. Does he believe that people paying these exorbitant prices should be thankful for his economic lessons?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, we promised to cut taxes for every Canadian. 22 million Canadians have their taxes cut. We promised to cut taxes on first-time home builders. They've been cut. We promised to cut the carbon tax. It's been cut. You weren't here. It's been cut. It's been cut. And we promised to build this country strong. November 4th, this House will have a choice. Are you with us for those single mothers? Are you with us for those farmers? Are you with us to build this country strong so they can get it?
What a loser.
Joining me now is the leader of the official opposition, Pierre Poilievre. Pierre, thank you for being here today. I want to get straight to the headlines. Some big headlines. Trump calling off trade talks over the Ford government's ad campaign, of course, featuring Ronald Reagan. Now, when you first read Trump's comments on social media, what was your initial reaction?
Well, disappointment, obviously, because, of course, Mark Carney had promised that he would negotiate a win for Canada, that we would have a deal by July 21st of 2025, months ago. And, of course, still no win, still no deal, and Mr. Carney's elbows have gone missing. This has forced premiers to run their own campaigns to fill the void that Mark Carney's broken promise has left behind. And I'm thinking about the workers here in Windsor who are out of a job because of Carney's failings on trade. We have the highest unemployment anywhere in Canada of any big city is right here in Windsor, 11%. These are families who don't know how they're going to pay their bills, keep their homes, live their lives. And I want them to know that Conservatives are going to fight for them every day, fight for the auto sector, fight for our auto workers, fight for Windsor.
And you're talking about Ford kind of stepping in. He did respond to Trump's comments today, saying, you know, Canada and the United States are friends, neighbors, allies. President Ronald Reagan knew that we are stronger together. God bless Canada. God bless the United States. You kind of mentioned it, but my question is, what role should provinces and territories play in shaping trade negotiations? Did Ford go too far in this case?
I think that what's happening is that premiers are filling the void that Mark Carney has left. I mean, he's broken every single promise he made about trade. Remember, he said, you know, ignore 10 years of liberal housing crisis, the liberal crime crisis, liberal immigration crisis, the liberal cost of living crisis, and vote for me because I'm the only one who can, and I quote, handle Donald Trump. And here we are 7 months later, and he hasn't handled Trump. He's backed down again and again. American tariffs on Canadian industry have doubled since Mark Carney promised to eliminate those tariffs. So I think the responsibility rests with the national government and its head, and that's the Prime Minister. And Mark Carney has broken his promise. It has been a liberal bait and switch, and Canadian workers are paying the price.
As you said, this has been going on for months and months. Carney responding today that he's ready to negotiate again with the U.S. when they're ready. But is it too late?
It's never too late. We have to fight for our country. We need to reopen access to the American market, and that's what Conservatives are fighting for. But in the meantime, there's a lot of things we can do at home. For example, let's get rid of this crazy EV mandate that's already killing auto sector jobs. That is a self-inflicted liberal wound, banning the production of internal combustion engines. I mean, here in Windsor, people know better than anywhere that is ridiculous. And we should get rid of the industrial carbon tax that is rendering all of our industries, steel, aluminum, autos, uncompetitive. Get rid of that tax altogether. Cut tax on work, investment, home building, and energy so that we can unlock the power of our economy. And finally, you know, with unemployment being so high, we have to get rid of the temporary foreign worker program that is displacing our young people who can't get jobs at the local Tim Hortons or Starbucks. Canadian jobs should go to Canadian workers.
Now, all of those points extremely important, not only to Canadians all over, but here in Windsor, Essex. My last question is, in light of Trump's comments, if you were in this position as Prime Minister, what are the steps you would make next moving forward?
First, I would pass the Canadian Sovereignty Act, which will make our economy strong, self-reliant, and sovereign. Here's how it will work. We will cut taxes on work, investment, energy, home building so that we can unlock the power of our domestic industries. We'll legalize and greenlight rapid construction of pipelines, mines, ports, LNG plants, so that those are all things that are Trump-proof. He can't control what we build in our own country. We will get rid of the industrial carbon tax, quickly approve projects, faster permits, and zero capital gains tax for anyone who reinvests in Canada. That will bring hundreds of billions of dollars of job-creating investment back to places like Windsor, so that when we sit down with the president, we do so with a position of strength, not the unprecedented economic weakness that Mark Carney has regrettably delivered. So my final message on that is have hope. Conservatives are going to fight for the workers of Windsor and all of Canada.
In the short term, though, how would you approach reaching out to Trump again?
Well, again, we need to do it from a position of strength. I think one of the reasons why Mr. Trump wanted to have Carney as Prime Minister is because Carney's so weak and he can bulldoze over him, which he's been doing now for the last 6 months. You need to be in a strong position, make it clear that Canada is able to stand on its own 2 feet and that we have other markets we can reach in addition to buying from ourselves. And with that strength, I believe we can negotiate a good deal for Canada.
Okay, Mr. Poilievre, thank you for joining us.
Emergency debate. I invite the Honourable Leader of the Opposition to rise and make a brief intervention.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Our Canadian farmers are the backbone of our economy, in particular our canola producers. And I would add that those producers in the great riding of Battle River Crowfoot are particularly renowned. But unfortunately, this $5 billion industry is under attack by unfair Chinese tariffs imposed by the regime in Beijing. This goes along with tariffs on seafood harvesters and other Canadian agriculture and agri-food producers. The Prime Minister promised that he would be a master negotiator, that he would open new markets, that he would negotiate wins. Of course, that was a bait and switch. His broken promises and failed diplomacy are costing a fortune to our farmers. In addition to which, we see that his failures with regard to the United States have resulted in a doubling of U.S. tariffs since he was elected on the promise that he would get a deal by July 21st. But back to the issue of farming, the $5 billion a year industry is critical to our overall economy and to the prairie economy in particular. We know that this sector is under immense pressure as Beijing has hammered our producers and artificially lowered, therefore, the price they can get for their sales. We have had much debate, and rightly so, about the tariffs that the Prime Minister has allowed to be imposed on our metal-making sectors, our automakers, and others, but not enough debate on canola producers. There are family farmers who are watching right now and relying on you, Mr. Speaker, to do the right thing and allow for an emergency debate. This is also an important matter of national unity. Western producers need to see that their sector is given fair attention and floor time in this House of Commons. They do not begrudge steel, aluminum, auto workers, and others for having a lot of debate in the House of Commons, but they expect that they too will have their voice heard. Given the enormity of this sector and the unfairness of the tariffs that the Chinese government has imposed, we are asking for you to do the right thing, Mr. Speaker, and allow for an emergency debate. I note this is particularly timely because the Prime Minister is meeting with President Xi later this week, and there is great expectation that all tariffs on canola and on our fish harvesters will be eliminated. After all, the Prime Minister did promise that he would be a master negotiator and that he knew how to handle these conversations. So we know that he will be coming back with an end to the tariffs. But in order to make sure that that is the case, let us have an emergency debate of which the Prime Minister and President Xi can take note before their meeting and before their announcement of the cessation of tariffs. So this is timely. It cannot wait. If it does delay, then you will, and this House will miss the window in which to have the conversation prior to the two heads of government meeting. And so we ask that you honor our farmers and allow for this House to take urgent action to defend their interests. Thank you very much.
I thank the Honourable Leader of the Opposition for his intervention. However, I am not satisfied that this request meets the requirements of the standing orders at this time. That being said, I know that this is a topic of great interest to many members. I want to assure the House that I am open to reconsidering the request at a later date if the situation warrants.
Oh, yeah. We'll wrap it up right there, guys. Is Pierre Poilievre on fire? Does he have your vote? Are you tired of being conned by Mark Carney and his corruption cabinet? Like, it's such a conspiracy. Not really. They're not trying to hide it. They're destroying our Canadian culture, it would seem, very much on purpose. Anyhow, we'll wrap it up right there. Aaron, Canadian Looney, like, share, subscribe, get notified. Come and join us for one of the live shows. We've got the best chat room online. Come and verify that for yourself. Till the next video, hope to see you in one of the live ones. We're out. Aaron, Canadian Looney. Like, share, subscribe. Get your Canadian federal politics right here.